Hello, Tim from Fair Play now on the 23rd of December 2021, and look what I've got here, a letter from my local MP, who is, as you can see there, Jeremy Quinn, who is the Member of Parliament for the Horsham constituency, which I'm in a kind of an outline area of that constituency. So he is my MP, and I kind of fired off an email to him just ahead of the Plan B vote in Parliament a few days ago, urging him not to vote in favour, which unfortunately he did. But I've got this quite a long reply from him, so it's a good sort of couple of pages or so. So I thought what I'd just do for a bit of fun is read this out to you, and I'll probably interject a few kind of, or shall we say, observations into it. Now, before I start, I know I'm going to get a little bit of stick from some viewers saying, you know, why do you even bother kind of doing things like writing to your MP, because they're all sort of part of the same evil sort of cabal, or whatever you want to call it. But I knew it wasn't going to do any good. I knew how this guy was probably going to vote, but I do it because, well, so I don't get accused in future of, if you're so concerned, why didn't you write to your MP about it? Well, actually I did, and I've got the evidence here. And speaking of evidence, this may well, if I keep this, it may well be at least a historical document in times to come, or even perhaps evidence if kind of certain trials ever end up happening. So I thought I'd just start reading this out. So thank you for your email regarding Plan B. Now, actually, before I continue, I'll just sort of say I'm going to have to interject some of my code words into this, because this platform will ban you even for reading out government documents, believe it or not. So I'm still going to use my little code words, but you'll soon pick up what I'm talking about. As you will be well aware, over the past few weeks, a new lurgy variant known as O has emerged. The variant includes a large number of spike protein mutations, as well as mutations in other parts of the viral genome. These are potentially biologically significant mutations which may change the behaviour of the virus with regards to big V's, treatments and transmissibility. It certainly appears to be considerably more infectious than previous strains. On Tuesday, I voted in support of implementing Plan B, alongside supporting the accelerated rollout of the rooster, as I believe the government is taking proportionate steps in light of this variant. That's open debate when it appears to be extremely mild, and more evidence is coming out that it is extremely mild, but hey ho. Since the vote, the UK has twice recorded its highest number of daily lurgy cases since the whole pan thing started or began. Yesterday, 88,376 people were tested positive. This record may well be broken again, as rates are anticipated to continue to grow rapidly. Well, it's because they're testing, isn't it, that we're getting more and more cases. And who's to say, with these rather inaccurate things that we sort of use to detect, that we're not just detecting much more ordinary sort of lurgies. But again, there you go. Continuing, right now at the current rate of transmission, thousands, most but not all, unV'd, are occupying hospital beds as a result of other lurgy variants. Well, that's open to debate, obviously with this narrative that it is the unV'd who are sort of flooding the hospitals, but there is evidence to suggest that that is not the case. Anyway, continuing again, the rapid spread of O, even if it ultimately proves to be a milder strain, implies that without action there is significant risk that hospitalizations will substantially increase. Well, he's just said even if it proves to be a milder strain, so he obviously sort of is thinking that it quite possibly is, but he's then saying that hospitalizations will substantially increase. Well, they're not, are they, if it's a much more mild strain? There you go. The most important action is the accelerated rollout of the rooster, but we need to take proportionate steps to protect the November Hotel Sierra's ability to protect all of us. The government is taking steps which I support. There is a recommendation, not a law, that where possible people should work from home. There is an increase in the number of indoor venues where those things are required, in many of which, such as theatres, they have already been introduced by the management to reassure attendees. Well, they don't reassure me, I can tell you, just the opposite. There are exemptions for wearing a face covering is not practical, such as when eating, drinking, exercising or singing. So, well, you know, again, sort of what is the point of them if you're allowed to sort of not have them in some places but have to wear them in other places. Those attending a very limited number of events, usually involving a high volume of people, will be required in advance to take a L-flow test and show a neg result, something which many of us are already doing routinely to protect others. Well, I don't know how that's protecting others, to be quite honest with you. Attendees will not have to show evidence of such a test if they choose instead to show they have been V'd. The venues which require being shown either a neg result or Big V status are nightclubs, unseated indoor venues with more than 500 people, unseated outdoor venues with more than 4,000 people, and any venue with more than 10,000 people. Millions of people are taking routine L-flow tests every week to help protect those around them. I do not think it is a big ask to require people to show a neg L-flow tests. Well, I think it is, to be honest with you. I think it's a big infringement on personal liberty, but there you go. And maybe, just maybe, we've got, because of all these people doing these particular flow things, maybe that is where we are getting all of those increased cases that he was talking about a little bit earlier on. But hey, that's just me, and who am I to say anything? I do not feel this package is unreasonable. Hopefully no further steps will be required to protect the November Hotel Sierra, but this is a fast moving situation and we will need to closely monitor the data. Frontline workers in the November Hotel Sierra will in future be required to have been Big V'd, which friends on the November Hotel Sierra frontline tell me is overwhelmingly the case already, with staff keen to protect themselves and their patients. Well, so that's open to debate when this guy's very own boss, Johnson, is on record, on camera, as saying a few weeks ago that the Big V does not prevent transmission, but hey ho, he obviously doesn't listen to his boss all the time, only when he's ordered to. I've been assured that the government does not intend to introduce Big Vs as a condition of deployment for any other workforces beyond health and social care, nor introduce mandatory Big Vs for the general population. Well, he's obviously got more faith in his in the government's word than I have, but hey ho. I wish O hadn't evolved, and they would therefore not have been required. It has, and sadly, as a result, they are. Roosters and the supporting measures will help protect the November Hotel Sierra, and in doing so reduce the risk to individuals and allow us to maintain most of our normal life, even in the midst of what remains a potentially fatal global pan. I would encourage anyone who may have been hesitant in the past to get their Big V to come forward and get fully Big V'd and indeed take the rooster. Well, there's that old word hesitant again. As we kind of talked about the other day, it's more like adamant rather than hesitant. But anyway, it just sort of, he then just signs off on this last page. There we go. Thank you again for contacting me. Yours sincerely, Jeremy Quinn. So just going back to that last point there, though, he sort of thinks that he can still send out a nice letter because after all it's on very nice stationery with that nice House of Commons sort of letterhead there. You can see this is what our taxpayers' money goes on, so he obviously thinks that by sending out a nice letter like that, he can persuade people like me who have gone for a full year now without having any of these things, that I'm going to suddenly kind of lose my hesitancy and go and get myself sorted out. So all I can say in reply to that is, really, I've had an entire year of these things being around now, and in that whole year I have not seen any. Well, I started off by being unconvinced about having the Big V, and in the intervening year I've had absolutely nothing to change my mind on that, and indeed plenty to reinforce my kind of current view on it. And I do not think that people who kind of look into all sides of the argument and choose to make a personal decision as to what goes in and what doesn't go in to my own body, why I should be discriminated against in any way. But that is just my reply, so I thought that might be of an interest to you. That reply from my local MP, that's obviously what he says, and that is really what I say in reply. Now, I'm sure many of you will be able to kind of, just as I have there, be able to pick holes a mile wide in this letter, but I'll kind of let you do that and leave any comments in the comment section below, and I'll leave it there for now. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.